This trade report revealed a golden opportunity for the St. Louis Blues as Doug Armstrong continues fielding trade calls after a slow start to the season with a former top 10 pick becoming available. This shows the St. Louis Blues have the perfect opportunity to add a positional need and a top tier prospect to their roster heading into this year's deadline. We have so much to break down on this one player, the trade report circulating, and exactly what the Blues would have to move in return, plus so much more in this episode. But before we get into that, I just want to give a huge shout out to everyone watching. We're trying to reach our goal of 5,000 subscribers. So if you're enjoying the daily news on the St. Louis Blues and you want to stay up to date on not only game recaps, trades, rumors, reports, prospect updates, everything you can think of, you can catch right here on Blues Digest. So make sure you're going to hit that free subscribe button. It means the world. But with that, Darius, let's just dive straight into this, where we know the St. Louis Blues and a lot of fans agree that going out to continuously making this team younger and younger is the direction they need to move into. We're looking at the standings. The Blues sit 29th in the NHL, and listen, they've strung together some good wins, but this is a team that continues to struggle. Darius, what do you think about this team having the opportunity to go out and get a young, disgruntled player going through on the Anaheim Ducks, with Pavel Mintyukov becoming available by the Anaheim Ducks after being scratched for 3 games, and him saying that this ice time is the biggest thing? Do you think this is a player the Blues had to be in on?
Yeah, I think that this is a really good opportunity for the Blues, but it also depends on how this season is going to go. And we'll see over the course of the next couple of games. Of course, you did, like you mentioned off the top, have a couple wins this year where you're like, okay, that looks pretty good. You look back at the Islanders win, okay, that looks pretty good. But there have been a lot of really poor performances this year. And a lot of insiders right now are talking about how Doug Armstrong is working the phones, and that if things continue this way, there will be some younger blood coming in through the door, and he will be trading off and selling off some of the older players on this team, like a Braden Shen, for example. But when you look at Mintyukov as an example from the Anaheim Ducks, this is a team that has been playing very well this season. They can't afford to give him up if they wanted to. It looks like they will be trading him at some point. There's lots of teams that are interested. He is a young, former 10th overall pick, a top 10 pick in the NHL draft just a couple years ago. His OHL numbers are off the charts in terms of, producing offense from the back end. He is a, young budding player, I think, in this league that needs more ice time, honestly. He did play a lot in their last game at the time of us recording this, but before that, he was averaging 12, 13 minutes a night, right? And you're not going to do much with that ice time and not playing in different situations. So he wants a situation where he's going to be playing more. He's basically told the team if he's not going to be playing, he would like to be moved. That's at least what we've heard from Elliot Friedman. That seems to be the sentiment right now. So again, he's a young puck moving offensive defenseman that can help this Blues team in, like you mentioned off the top as well, a position of need. If you look over the last couple of years, this year he hasn't been playing great. And that's another reason why this is a great opportunity. You know that the Ducks are in a position where they're so good this year. It looks like they're going to make the playoffs with the roster that they have. This guy has been scratched a couple times. They can offload him. They can afford to do that. He's not like a big part of their team this year. And he could, be a big part of your team. He has the potential. The ceiling looks pretty good on this player. So I think you can take the chance with this, and it could work out if you're the Blues.
Because I think the biggest thing is you're looking at a guy that was drafted 10th overall. You know the production he brings. Yes, he is beginning a lack of ice time. This has made him want to get out of the organization, coming from insiders. But the biggest thing is the potential around this kid. Like you said, in the OHL, the numbers were off the charts. You can see in 32 games, 34 points, 37 games, 54 points, 67 games, 62 points. This kid knows offense, already with a 28-point season in the NHL. I think this is the Ducks team that is the top of the Pacific. They want to make a push. We know they have so much young talent. Leo Carlson has been outstanding, but listen, we're not Ducks Digest, so we're not going to speak about their success. But this does open the opportunity for the Blues to go out and add youth to the team. I mean, looking at the back end, you have a lot on the left side. Tucker, we see Fowler, Broberg, Logan Mailloux is a bit of a youth movement, but adding in another offensive defenseman could really bolster the bottom 4 of the defense. You can bring them in. Maybe Tucker goes back in the trade. You're not going to trade Cam Fowler back to the Ducks, but we know the success from a former Ducks player joining this Blues organization. So, Darius, this is where I think it gets interesting. Maybe you go out and you want Pavel playing on the right side. Maybe you continue to develop him on the left side. Maybe Tucker moves over Do you think there's a fit within this organization for the 10th overall pick to join the team and maybe even blossom farther than he already has?
I think it goes beyond just fitting him like a puzzle piece into the lineup at this point. I think it includes a guy like maybe Braden Shen, and I'll get to that in a second and why it makes sense. But when you're looking at the lineup right now, you can make the argument that, you have a guy like Broberg, already. You have a guy like Mayu already. Why would you add another one? And that's kind of why I want to bring Braden Shen into this and why it works out. But he could fit into this lineup. I think it would work out. And, all things equal, if all things were equal and, players develop the way that you think they're going to be, Tyler Tucker should be a pretty good everyday NHL defenseman moving into the future as well. Where I think Braden Shen, a guy like Braden Shen, it could be someone else in the lineup, comes into the equation here, is I think that Anaheim is in a very interesting spot this year. I think they're looking around the league and they're saying we could add a lot of players. We have cap space. We have some of our younger players that need contracts soon, but the cap is going up. And when I say soon, a couple of them next year. But the cap is going up. They have a lot of cap space to use this year. They can add older players. I wonder if they look at this year like we might have actually a very small window here now to try and win a championship with how good our team is playing and the fact that we have goaltending and some, younger, obviously young stars on the team, but some older presence too. What if we add a Braden Shen up the middle? They've been dealing with some injuries as well, or he can play the wing, right? So I wonder if they're looking at that and if that could make sense for them, some more leadership to bring in for the younger stars on the team. And then in return, you're not going to get anyone off their immediate roster because they're going to the playoffs. They look like they're going to be a very solid team this year when, a lot of the contenders or who we thought were going to be contenders are falling out of the playoffs this year. So I wonder if they're looking at that like, hey, let's sell off some of our younger pieces right now, some guys that are kind of on the fringe of our team at least, who are maybe not performing that well and disgruntled like a Mintyukov, and sell them off to, a Blues team. So that could actually make sense in that way where you're not going to get another center. It's not going to be a 1-for-1 deal or anything like that. From the Ducks, but you're going to get a very young piece that, you could even flip if you're the Blues as well. If you don't feel comfortable with that, oh yeah, we already have Mayu, right? So I think it's an interesting idea. I think that it could make some sense in that way. And I do wonder if it is a guy like Braden Shen, it could be somebody else, but I do wonder if Braden Shen does actually make a lot of sense for the Ducks.
And I think the big thing is looking at the Blues team, they do have a bit of cap space. They don't have a lot of draft capital. Yes, they're missing 2 seconds. So I can't see them moving on from a first, especially with the start of the year. We could see a bottom 4 team. This is a potentially a top 5 pick, or they could go on a run like we've seen in the past and win a Stanley Cup. But I think the biggest thing is this management group does not want to touch the resources during the draft with what they have. You're not going to move out a first and a third and maybe a second to bring in this guy. You're going to look at some of your guys when you're looking at the core value of your team. If you're looking at this team and you're saying, hey, we don't have what it takes. You're getting into, say, Christmas after Olympics. We know Doug's going to be very busy during the Olympics, but if you're getting into that point of the year and Pavel's still there available, this is where you can look and say, hey, Anaheim, we're going to call Pat Verbeek. What's up, man? We want to move on from some of our older guys within this roster. What is it going to take to get a young piece to join back with fans? What is your thoughts on this? What is your thoughts on the potential to add more youth to the defensive end? We know that a guy like Falk is going to get older. We know Fowler signed long-term. Broberg needs a contract. Parayko's still great. What is your thoughts on adding this former top 10 pick by the Anaheim Ducks to this team? Let us know all your thoughts down in the comments. And speaking of comments, we're changing it up a bit today. I just want to give a huge shout out from everyone watching. Seeing where everyone's watching from, awesome. Let us know where you are watching from. Why are you a Blues fan? Are you from Slovakia and you love this team because of Dvorsky? Sweden? Let us know all your thoughts and where you're from down below, because it's awesome to see how big the Blues are truly getting from all the way from Australia because of Nathan Walker. Let us know where you're watching from down in the comments. While you're down there, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We'll be back in another episode, so keep your eye for that. But I've been your host, Mark, with my co-host, Darius, and take